Crikey, mate. Going to the land down under for this one. Okay, everybody, today we're going back a good 40 plus years to look at a little psychological thriller that doesn't get talked about enough, doesn't get brought up enough, and God knows they made a remake of that sucked. Anyway, this is about the original 1978's Patrick. But before we go any further, once again, and as always, to the trailer.
Behind these walls, a shocking experiment is taking place. Patrick is undergoing treatment. They think he's helpless. He cannot feel. He cannot see. He cannot speak.
Hello? Is anybody in there?
Patrick's secret is the enormous power of his mind. A psychic force so intense that nothing can stand in its way.
What have they been doing to you?
Patrick. A chilling investigation. Beyond medicine. Beyond science. Beyond the 5 known senses. In that twilight world between life and death, Patrick is preparing his very own day of judgment. Patrick.
Okay, this little gem was directed by Richard Franklin. Might have done a couple things you know and remember. Anyway, he directed Psycho 2, which actually wasn't that bad, believe it or not. You know, if you remember it, you know what I mean. And Cloak and Dagger, and Road Games, come on, how can you not love that? And FX2, and he did some TV shows, you know, the Beastmaster TV show, and the Lost World TV show. So, you know, you might know his work, you might not, but a couple flicks in there you should check out. Okay, everybody, playing Kathie. Susan Penhaligon. Ah, very, very cute woman. Anyway, here we go. She was in stuff like Doctor Who, and The Visitors, and Love Story, and Heart of the Country, and A Fine Romance. And she was in one of my all-time favorite little shit flicks, The Land That Time Forgot. Oh, I love that movie. Whatever, let's keep going. Okay, played Ed was Rod Mullinar. Been in some TVs, been in some movies. Let's kick it off. Anyway, as far as movies, he's been in stuff like, you know, Dead Calm. Come on, we remember that. And Breaker Morant. Shit, come on, Keepo, you gotta remember that. Breakfast in Paris. And he did a lot of TV shows, you know, All Saints and Shock Jock and Shortland Street and The Magistrate and 5 Mile Creek. Stuff like that. So, had a career. Been around, did what he did. Let's keep this thing going. Okay, playing Brian. Bruce Barry. Again, little movie, little TV. Let's kick into it. He was in stuff like Ned Kelly, which is a flick that probably everybody knows, or at least should, and a bunch of TV work. We're talking like The Flying Doctors, and A Homicide, and The Spoiler, and The Evil Touch, and The Restless Years. So, had a career, did what he did, is in this. It's all we really give a shit about anyway, right? So, let's keep going. Playing the Matron Cassidy was Julia Blake. Let's hit it. She was in stuff like X-Men Origins, Wolverine. She was in Aquamarine. She was on TV in The Starter Wife, and A Difficult Woman, and A Bed of Roses, and Sword of Honor, and Against the Wind, and Division 4. So, boom, she was out there. She did her thing. Hey, playing Dr. Roget was Robert Helpmann. Now, really, probably more known for being a dancer. He was a big-time ballet dancer, or at least semi-big-time ballet dancer, and that's where his claim the fame really lies, but he was in some motion pictures and shit too. Let's go. We're talking about he was in stuff like Don Quixote, and The Red Shoes, and The Mango Tree, and Henry V, and Caravan. But he will always be, to me, most known for, even more than this motion picture, the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Does anybody even fucking remember Chitty Chitty Bang Bang anymore? I mean, it's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. We all remember that, right? And playing Patrick himself, Robert Thompson. A big career? Absolutely fucking not. He popped up in stuff like, Thirst, and he was in Road Games, and he was in Cop Shop, and on TV, Sons and Daughters, and Prisoner of Cell Block H. But literally, he did like just a few things, and then, boom, was gone. So, he did this. He did fine in it. He didn't really have to do much than lay there. But it is what it is. Let's get going to the story. Okay, everybody, once and again, I'm going to try to do this in 90 seconds or less to keep this moving, keep it flowing, and get to the point that we all know and love, the summation, which is where we all would rather be. Anyway, let's go. You got Patrick. Yeah, he's sitting in his room, hanging out one night. His mom, kind of a party girl. I mean, she is knocking boots right on the other side of the wall from him. It is what it is. He looks a little comfortable. He looks a little jealous. Don't know. Anyway, he gets up. His mom's taking a bath with some strange guy in a tub-a-roo, and he just throws a space heater in there and kills them. Cut a few years later, and we have this young nurse. Her name is Kathie. She's getting a job at the Roget Institute, where they basically take care of people that are on their way out. Anyway, who is she assigned to look into? Who is she assigned to take care of? Patrick himself, who's now basically a comatose vegetable with no brain waves whatsoever. He can't see, he can't speak, he can't hear, he can't do anything, for all intents and purposes, but lay there. Something happened after that little event, and this is all that we got left, folks. Just the way it is. Well, is it really all that we got left? You see, Patrick, he might not be able to see and hear and all the other fun things of life, but the sixth sense that we all don't even know about, has been magnified, and his whole brain power and soul power, whatever the fuck you want to put it, has been put into that. And he can reach out, and he can affect things, and he can travel, and he can move shit, and he can do all kinds of stuff. The hospital staff, not really fond of Patrick. Well, Dr. Roget kind of likes him just because he is the bridge between life and death, and he wants to study Patrick, trying to figure out how we bridge the gap from life and death, which changes in an instant. You got the head matron, who really is freaked out and scared by him and wants nothing more than him to be dead. And of course, you got Kathie, who, let's just say, Patrick kind of gets a thing for. And he's jealous of anybody she talks to, including her ex-husband and this new guy, Brian. And he is just trying to hurt them so they can have her all to himself. You see, boys and girls, he's a little jealous. And he's a little possessive. And I don't know. He's a little weird. Anyway, that's probably too much to give you already. That's the ballpark that we're playing in. Let's just get to the summation, which is where we all have our most fun. Okay, everybody, now we're going to get down to brass taxes. Is Patrick a great motion picture? Probably not. It's a good flick and a peculiar flick. From a directing stance, I often wondered what the director was doing. Sometimes he directs this movie very straight and very normal and very to the point. And then there's other times when he goes into Brian De Palma land, you know what I'm saying? Where he sets up these things where you see reflections in the irises of eyes, you see weird camera angles, you see things that almost look like a split screen going on, and then it leaves that, goes right back to a normal flick again. So I'm not really quite sure why he dipped in and dipped out of that style a couple times in the motion picture. Did it hurt it? No, but you'll notice it. The acting in this flick is solid. Everybody does a good job. Everybody pulls it off. Everybody gives you the feeling they're meant to give you. You're supposed to be somewhat sympathetic to the Kathie character, obviously. She's a strong character and not this little wimpy one. And you kind of have sympathy for her, but you're also impressed with how tough she is. You're supposed to be weirded out by the doctor and the matron. And, by the way, you will be, because they're fucking weird. And they make you feel unsettled and they make you feel queasy. And actually, the whole setting of the movie makes you feel a little bit uneasy and queasy. I mean, the Roget Clinic in this fucking flick is just like the most rundown piece of shit goddamn convalescent home I've ever seen in the history of my life. I mean, I wouldn't want to put anybody in this place. Everybody's a little bit bizarre. Everybody's a little bit strange. And they use that in this motion picture to give you a sense of unease, queasiness. Because in this motion picture, you're going to kind of get that feeling a lot of times, like, yeah. And that's what this motion picture probably does best. The pacing of this motion picture is very good. It stays basically true to what it is all the way, which I've always complained about in some movies that don't, and I always commend movies that do. Pacing is so important, and Patrick holds true to it. It's not one of those explosive action scene type of movies. You will not get any of that here. You will not run into any of that kind of stuff at all in this motion picture. But if you like some other movies like The Changeling or The Legacy, stuff like that, then you're going to like Patrick because it comes out at that very monotone, even pace, never goes crazy, never breaks out, just does what it does, leaves you with a feeling, and moves on. And hey, you got to love it just for that. Are there some things in it where you just shake your head? No, there's a couple moments, not too many. But a couple moments. I mean, the scene with the swimming pool where they basically mimic the Jaws music to it is one of those things where you just say, why? I don't get it. But other than that, it cruises along and does what it's supposed to do. And there aren't that many flaws that you're going to attack it for. And by the way, if the music to this sounds kind of familiar, it was actually scored by Brian May. Not the Brian May who plays the Red Special in the band Queen, who doesn't understand that Queen died when Freddie Mercury died and now keeps going with fucking whatever. But Brian May, the composer who did the music for Mad Max. So as you're listening to this, there's going to be a familiarity to the music that you hear in the background, in the way that it's used in the motion picture will seem kind of familiar. Oh, and that of course brings up the final part about this motion picture. This is a movie filmed in Australia. Takes place supposedly in Melbourne. So it's not going to be one of those Hollywood flicks where you see the typical Hollywood people move in and out of the screen, in and out of the frame. You're not going to see that group of people that you know always pop up in the same shit. You're not going to see the ones that are on Simon Simon, The Love Boat, and fucking Murder, She Wrote, and all that kind of cast of characters that, you know, they all have down their credentials. This is an Australian flick. If you're not from Australia, well, you're probably not going to know a lot of the actors. But it doesn't matter because they all do a solid job and they all give you what you need. Great performances. Okay, everybody, once and again, get out there, check out Patrick. Like I said, look for the 1978 one. Do not look for the one that they made a few years ago, like, I don't know what it was, 2012, 2014, whatever. You know what I mean? Go to this one, check it out, enjoy it, watch it. Let me know what you think. Be good. Help out a stranger. Look out for a friend. And above all else, beyond no compromise, take any bullshit from anybody. Be good. See you soon.